Hello everyone, I am the Young Millennial Budget. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. If you have a moment, please remember to like and subscribe because it really does help out my channel. Today, you will be seeing me budget through my third and final paycheck of January 2021, and I will be budgeting the majority of this money into February and topping off my 2021 goals. So the first thing that I do with each paycheck is cover any overspending in my budget. The first place I have overspending is in Robinhood. So I very impulsively bought a contract with Ally. It was a call option and it cost $170, and I needed to deposit $100 in order to cover this call. I will be talking a little bit more about what I did in the market last week during my Transfer Tuesday video, but for now I'm just going to cover this with my buffer. The next place I have overspending is in my housing and living category. So for all of my adult years, I've typically lived in a situation where I was by myself. So even if I had roommates or suite mates, I was always buying my own materials, if that makes sense, like paper towels, toilet paper, all of those things. Now that I'm living with one of my best friends in her home, we are splitting most of those costs. And it's made me realize that people utilize items in their home differently. And sometimes they use them more frequently or less frequently than you. And they may restock things at a different frequency than me. I had the tendency before to more so buy things as they were finishing out because I've always lived near a grocery or convenience store. But my friend has a tendency to bulk purchase things, so she never truly runs out. So knowing that, I feel as though I will be spending more in this category each month living with her than I would have if I was living by myself. So I'm gonna cover this overspending in addition to upping my monthly goal for it. So I'm going to cover that with moving costs just because it's in the same category. And I'm going to just change the goal to about $40 and see if I need to reevaluate that later. The next place I have overspending is in fast food. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it here, but I'll also talk about it in my 34-day reset overview video. So essentially, this is the second or maybe third or fourth exception that I've had while doing this challenge. And I'm not upset at all because I've still spent a lot less than what my typical goal is. But I'll talk about these specific circumstances in that video. Let me not even get into it. The next place I have overspending is in gifts and birthdays. So this one I think was a good use of my money, but let me explain. So in this situation, I had promised my friends that I would drive them to the airport early in the morning around like 7, 8 a.m. However, the night before, I ended up staying up a little bit too late and had some drinks with my food, and honestly was feeling out of it in the morning, and I felt like it would better suited for me to stay in bed and rest, knowing that I had work meetings at 9, 10 a.m. and the airport was over an hour and a half drive round trip. So essentially I just paid for the Uber out there, and I think it was a good use of my money and my time in that scenario. So I don't have any issues with covering this. I'm going to use my actual transportation fee. So I took $25 from Uber to cover that. I'm going to take $10 from Metro to cover that. And then I'm going to cover the rest with my buffer. And the last place I have overspending is in subscriptions and miscellaneous. So technically speaking, the friends that I drove to the airport, one of them had a dog that I've been dog sitting all weekend, and they gave me money to watch the dog and to buy food for her. I have the money sitting in Venmo at this time. However, I haven't taken the money out yet, because I'm just going to have that be used as some of the money I have for Transfer Tuesday in the month of February. So I'm just going to cover my miscellaneous with my extra Spotify money. I'm going to cover the rest of this with my buffer. And that $18 purchase was just buying food for the dog. That is all of my overspending. It's all covered. So now what I'm going to do is budget into February. But first, there's actually one thing I need to change in my budget, and I'm going to flash it on the screen here. Joe Biden has become the president of the United States, and he has extended the federal student loan forbearance to September. So my loans are not accruing any interest at this time. So I'm just going to stop budgeting for it, and I'll reevaluate at the beginning of October when interest starts growing again. So let me just delete this goal. So I'm going to put my paycheck into an empty category for 1 second. And then I'm going to take money out of my 1 month ahead and budget into February with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take every category minus my 2021 goals, because I intentionally put money towards that with each paycheck and on Transfer Tuesdays. So I'm going to just click underfunded here. And now I'm going to budget a little bit of extra in the categories where I feel there'll be a little bit of extra spending. But first, I'm going to take leftover money from my categories in January and see if I can put more towards my budget in the future. So with professional fees, I feel as though I can take out $73. I do want to have money sitting in here in case anything pops up, but for now I think I'm fine. Groceries, I'm going to let that roll over. I'm going to keep the money in here so I can buy something in the future, but I do think I can afford to take $10 away from medical. Just for fun, I'm actually going to leave $25 in here to let that roll over for next month. That means I'll take out $8.05. Okay, so that gives me $110. So at this time, there are a couple of places where I know I'll be spending a little bit of extra money in February. The first place I'll be funding is my miscellaneous. So tax season is upon us, and I normally use Free Tax USA to file my federal and state taxes. Filing my federal taxes is free, but for state taxes, it's about $13 to $15 per state. And I also pay for the premium plan so I can go ahead and amend my taxes because I'm bound to make a mistake. So that normally costs me about $30, but after tax and who knows if there'll be a promotion, I'm gonna put about $36 in here because that's around how much I spent last year. In addition to that, I'm going to put a little bit of money into giving. So this is the category I have the tendency to go over budget the absolute most. And Valentine's Day is coming up, and I just feel as though I need to prepare myself. So I'm going to put everything that is left in here. And I do think I'll probably need a little bit more than that. So let me put an additional, let's say the full $71.99. Let me put that into my gifts and giving. I think that should include Valentine's Day. I have a boss's birthday coming up, and he was talking about doing something with some people, and I appreciate being included in that because though I no longer work with the company, I developed a lot of strong relationships in those years. And so Valentine's Day, my boyfriend's birthday is coming up, my old boss's birthday, my parents' anniversary is coming up. So right now in gifts and giving, I have $196.75. So I'll reevaluate if I'll need more in the future. And the last thing that I plan on buying in the month of February is a shelving unit and a diploma frame to put in the background of my workstation. So I did end up using money last month to buy myself a desk. I'll talk about that in my January wrap up. And I just feel like I want my background to look more aesthetically pleasing and not so plain. So I think this might be enough for the shelf and the diploma frame. So I'm fully budgeted into February 2021 without having to dip into my paycheck because I had the 1 month ahead category, which I have now completely depleted. The first thing I'm going to do is take out my paycheck. So I put that in vacation just to hold it. So I'm going to put it back into my budget. And I'm actually going to put money right back into the 1 month ahead category. $1,700 divided by 2 is $850, right? Yeah. So I'm going to put $850 there. So that leaves me with 51. Okay. And I'm going to go back into January and finish funding my goals. So I'm going to make this a clean $2,000. So I'm going to put $775 into this. I told myself with every paycheck, I'm going to put $125 to my Roth IRA. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to put money in my emergency fund at this moment because I'm going to do that on Transfer Tuesday. So I'm going to leave a little bit of money in my savings and buffer. For that, I'm going to leave about $100 to be used during Transfer Tuesday if I don't end up using it towards something else. And the last thing that I want to do, which may seem a little bit weird, is in my 2021 goals section, this is what YNAB suggests I contribute monthly in order to meet my goals by my target date. These are fine numbers. This number kind of bothers me a little bit, but going into February, all of these numbers look a little bit wonky, and I just want to go ahead and make them clean numbers by budgeting a little bit of extra in January so these numbers are clean numbers. So you're going to watch me do that. I'm going to put it into fast forward, but let me open my calculator. Okay, so give me a minute to figure everything out. I'm not sure if you guys watched that, but that was me struggling through the math to make these all clean numbers in February. And that leaves me with $172.51. So the last thing I'm going to do is put another $50 towards my new vehicle fund, and the rest of this money I'm going to have sitting in my buffer. I know I leave a lot of money in my buffer, but I'm still figuring out what the best budget goals are for each category for me, and I have the tendency to do a little bit of overspending, and I like to give myself the grace of knowing I'll have the money somewhere else in the future, and I pull from this money each week for Transfer Tuesday and for other things. So at this time, I'm okay with having a lot of money sitting in my buffer. So yeah, I'm done budgeting my third paycheck of January 2021. Thank you guys for staying with me and watching. Please don't forget to like, comment below, and subscribe. See you guys in a couple days. Bye.